The smell of freshly brewed coffee filled the small diner, a cozy but worn-out place where people from all walks of life came in and out every day. The wooden tables had scratches from years of use, and the neon sign outside flickered, struggling to stay lit. It wasn't a fancy restaurant, but for many, it was a familiar corner of comfort. Among the busy staff, Emma moved swiftly between tables, refilling coffee cups and taking orders with a tired but genuine smile. She wasn't just another waitress. She was someone who had learned to find warmth even in hardship. Emma had been working double shifts for months, barely making enough to cover her rent. Bills kept piling up, and each day felt like an uphill battle. But no matter how tough things got, she believed in kindness. Her mother had always told her, "You may be struggling, but there's always someone struggling more." One rainy evening, as Emma wiped down the counter, she heard soft sobs coming from the entrance. She turned to see a little girl, no older than 7, standing just inside the doorway. Her clothes were damp, her tiny hands clutching the strap of an old backpack. Tears ran down her cheeks as she stared at the plates of food being served around her. Emma's heart clenched. She had seen hungry customers before, but there was something different about this child. She looked lost, desperate. Taking a deep breath, Emma walked over, crouching down to meet the girl's eyes. "Hey, sweetheart," she said softly. "Are you okay?" The girl sniffled and shook her head. I'm just really hungry." Emma glanced around. The diner wasn't exactly a charity, and giving out free meals could get her into trouble. But in that moment, none of that mattered. "Come on," she said, leading the girl to a booth. "Let's get you something to eat." As Emma disappeared into the kitchen, she had no idea that this small act of kindness would change her life forever. Emma placed a warm plate of pancakes in front of the little girl, along with a small glass of milk. The girl's eyes widened as she stared at the food, as if unsure whether she was really allowed to have it. "It's okay," Emma said with a gentle smile. "Go ahead." The girl hesitated for only a second before grabbing a fork and taking quick bites, as if afraid someone would take the food away. Emma sat across from her, pretending to be busy wiping the table while watching her. After a few moments, Emma finally asked, "What's your name, sweetheart?" The girl swallowed a bite before answering, "Lily." Emma nodded. "That's a beautiful name, Lily. Are you here alone?" Lily's chewing slowed. She looked down at her plate, suddenly unsure if she should answer. Emma noticed how her small hands gripped the edge of the table. I was with my mom," Lily said hesitantly. "But she told me to wait outside the store while she went in. Then she didn't come back." Emma felt a pang in her chest. She had heard stories like this before, parents who abandoned their children, unable to care for them. But she didn't want to assume. "How long ago was that?" she asked gently. Lily shrugged. "A long time. It got dark, so I walked here." Emma glanced toward the diner's entrance, wondering if Lily's mother would come looking for her. But no one came. The sound of rain pattering against the windows made the diner feel even more isolated. A waitress named Carla walked by, whispering, "Emma, are you sure about this? You know how strict Mr. Jenkins is." Emma looked toward the kitchen, where her boss, Mr. Jenkins, was busy managing orders. He wasn't a cruel man, but he ran a tight ship. Giving away free food wasn't something he'd be thrilled about. "I'll handle it," Emma murmured back. She turned back to Lily, who was finishing the last few bites of her pancakes. Emma made a quick decision. "Do you want some hot chocolate?" Lily's face lit up. "Really?" Emma nodded. "Really." She walked to the kitchen and prepared a small cup of cocoa, adding just the right amount of whipped cream on top. As she carried it back, she felt someone watching her. "Emma," a voice called. She turned to see Mr. Jenkins standing near the counter, his arms crossed. "Did you charge for that plate of food?" Emma hesitated. She could lie, but what was the point? "No," she admitted. "I didn't." His lips pressed into a thin line. "You know the rules." "I know," she said, her voice steady. "But she's just a kid, and she's hungry." Mr. Jenkins sighed, rubbing his temples. "Emma, I get it. But we can't feed every person who walks in without money. This is a business." Emma looked back at Lily, who was happily sipping her hot chocolate. She thought about how many times she had struggled, how many nights she had gone to bed with an empty stomach. If someone had offered her a meal back then, wouldn't it have changed everything? "I'll pay for it," Emma said. "Take it out of my paycheck." Mr. Jenkins exhaled sharply, but didn't argue. "Just this once." Emma nodded, relieved. She walked back to Lily's table and sat down. "Where do you live, sweetheart?" she asked. Lily's face fell. "I don't know anymore." Emma's heart ached. "Well, you don't have to worry tonight," she said. "You can stay here for a while." She didn't know what she was going to do. She barely had enough money for herself. How could she help this child? But as she looked at Lily, who finally seemed safe for the first time in hours, Emma knew one thing for sure. She wasn't going to let her go back into the cold. And somewhere deep inside, she had a feeling that fate had brought them together for a reason. The diner had slowed down for the night, with only a few customers scattered across the booths. Emma sat with Lily, watching as the little girl stifled a yawn. "You must be tired," Emma said softly. Lily nodded but sat up straighter, as if afraid to show weakness. "Do you have anywhere to go?" Emma asked, already dreading the answer. Lily hesitated, then shook her head. "Mom told me to wait, but she never came back." Emma swallowed hard, anger and sadness mixing inside her. How could a mother just abandon her child? A loud crash from the kitchen snapped Emma out of her thoughts. Carla had dropped a tray of plates, and Mr. Jenkins was rubbing his temples, looking more frustrated than ever. Emma knew she couldn't push her luck with him any further. She turned back to Lily. "Listen, I'm about to finish my shift. How about you come with me?" Lily's eyes widened. "Really?" "Yeah," Emma said. "I don't live in a fancy place, but it's warm, and you can rest there for the night." Lily's face lit up with relief. "Okay." Emma clocked out and grabbed her coat. She bundled Lily up in her extra scarf before they stepped out into the cold night. The city streets were wet from the earlier rain, the streetlights reflecting off the slick pavement. They walked in silence for a while before Lily spoke. "Why are you helping me?" Emma paused, looking down at her. "Because I know what it's like to be left alone." Lily tilted her head. "You do?" Emma nodded. "When I was younger, I didn't have much. My parents died when I was little, and I had to move from one foster home to another. It was tough." Lily looked up at her with wide eyes. "Did anyone ever help you?" Emma smiled sadly. "Not many, but the few who did, I never forgot them." They reached Emma's small apartment, a tiny one-bedroom with second-hand furniture and creaky floors. It wasn't much, but it was home. "Come on in," Emma said, holding the door open. Lily stepped inside, looking around. "It's nice," she said politely. Emma chuckled. "You don't have to lie. It's small, but it's cozy." She led Lily to the couch, grabbing a few blankets. "You can sleep here tonight." Lily sat down, holding the blanket close to her. "Thank you, Emma." Emma ruffled her hair. "Get some rest, okay?" As Lily curled up on the couch, Emma sat by the window, staring out at the city. She knew she couldn't keep Lily forever. Someone would come looking for her. But until then, she was going to make sure the little girl felt safe. Little did she know, this one act of kindness would change both of their lives forever. The next morning, Emma woke up early, stretching as she rubbed the sleep from her eyes. She glanced over at the couch, where Lily was still curled up under the blankets, breathing softly. For a moment, Emma allowed herself to smile. It had been a long time since she had felt this kind of warmth in her home. She quietly made her way to the kitchen and started preparing breakfast. The smell of scrambled eggs and toast filled the air, stirring Lily awake. "Good morning," Emma said, glancing over her shoulder. Lily yawned, rubbing her eyes before sitting up. "Morning," she mumbled sleepily. Emma placed a plate in front of her. "Eat up. You need your strength." Lily hesitated for a second before picking up her fork and taking a bite. "This is really good," she said between mouthfuls. Emma chuckled. "Glad you think so." As they ate, Emma couldn't shake the thought that she needed to do something. She couldn't just keep Lily with her without knowing more about her situation. "Lily," Emma said gently, "do you remember where your mom was taking you before she left?" Lily stared at her plate, poking at her eggs with her fork. She said we were going to find a new place to live, she said softly. But then she told me to wait outside the diner, and she never came back. Emma's heart ached at the sadness in Lily's voice. Do you have any other family? Maybe someone we can call? Lily shook her head. Just Mom. Emma sighed. This wasn't going to be easy. She needed to figure out the right thing to do. After breakfast, Emma called her best friend, Rachel. Hey, Rach, Emma said when she picked up. I need some advice. Rachel, a social worker, immediately picked up on the urgency in Emma's voice. What's going on? Emma hesitated before explaining everything, finding Lily at the diner, taking her home, and what little she knew about her situation. Rachel sighed. Emma, you know you can't just keep her. You need to call Child Protective Services. Emma bit her lip. I know. I don't want her to end up in the system, if there's another way. Rachel's voice softened. I get it. But you don't know the full story. Her mom might be looking for her. Emma glanced over at Lily, who was now sitting on the couch, flipping through one of Emma's old books. Okay, she said finally. I'll call. After hanging up, Emma sat beside Lily. Sweetheart, I need to make a few calls to see if we can find your mom, okay? Lily looked nervous, but nodded. Okay. Emma dialed the local police station and explained the situation. An officer assured her they would check for any reports of a missing child matching Lily's description. Hours passed with no news. Lily stayed close to Emma, as if afraid she'd be left behind again. That evening, Emma took Lily out for a walk. The city was bustling, but neither of them spoke much. I don't want to go to a foster home, Lily admitted suddenly. Emma stopped walking and knelt in front of her. I'll do everything I can to make sure you're safe, okay? You're not alone in this. Lily nodded, though her eyes were filled with uncertainty. Just as they returned home, Emma's phone rang. She answered quickly. Miss Carter? The voice on the other end was official and serious. Yes. This is Officer Daniels from the local precinct. We found Lily's mother. Emma's heart pounded. Where is she? The officer hesitated. She was arrested last night for drug possession. She's currently in custody. Emma's breath caught. What does that mean for Lily? She'll need to be placed in temporary care until we determine if her mother can regain custody. Emma glanced at Lily, who was sitting on the couch, hugging her knees. She had no idea what was coming. The officer continued, Would you be willing to keep her until social services makes arrangements? Emma didn't even hesitate. Yes. Absolutely. As she hung up, she knew this was just the beginning of something much bigger. Emma sat on the couch, staring at her phone, the officer's words still ringing in her ears. Lily's mother was in jail. That poor little girl had been abandoned, and now she was facing an uncertain future. Lily looked up at Emma with wide, expectant eyes. Did they find my mom? Emma hesitated, unsure of how much to tell her. She didn't want to lie, but she also didn't want to crush the little girl's hope. They found her, sweetheart, she said gently. She's going to need some time to sort things out. Lily's small shoulders slumped. She's not coming back, is she? Emma swallowed the lump in her throat. I don't know, Lily, but I do know that you're safe here with me for now. Lily nodded slowly, but Emma could see the sadness in her eyes. That night, as Emma lay in bed, she couldn't stop thinking about what would happen next. Would Lily be sent to foster care? Would her mother fight to get her back? And what if she didn't? The next morning, Emma called Rachel again. So, what are my options? Emma asked after explaining everything. Rachel sighed. Legally, you can apply to be her temporary guardian. It's a long process, but since she's already with you, social services might consider it. Emma's heart pounded. And if I don't, then she'll go into foster care until they determine what to do. Emma looked over at Lily, who was sitting at the kitchen table, quietly coloring in a notebook Emma had given her. I don't want her to go through that, Emma said. Rachel was silent for a moment. Then you need to fight for her, Emma. After hanging up, Emma took a deep breath. Could she really do this? Take in a child permanently? She barely made enough as a waitress to cover her own bills. But when she looked at Lily, she knew there was no other choice. She made a decision. She wasn't going to let Lily go. That afternoon, Emma took Lily to the park. As they sat on a bench watching the other children play, Lily turned to Emma. "Do you think my mom will come back for me?" Emma's chest tightened. "I don't know, sweetheart," she admitted. "But no matter what happens, you're not alone." Lily nodded and leaned against Emma's side. The next few days were a whirlwind. Emma met with a social worker who asked 100 questions about her job, her apartment, and her ability to care for Lily. "I know I don't have much," Emma admitted, "but I care about her. I don't want her to feel abandoned again." The social worker smiled softly. "We'll take that into account." The waiting was agonizing. Every day, Emma feared she would get a call saying Lily had to leave. But as days turned into a week, then no call came. Instead, she got something else, a growing bond with Lily. They developed little routines like making pancakes on Saturday mornings and watching movies under a blanket fort. One evening, as Emma tucked Lily into bed, the little girl reached for her hand. "Emma?" "Yes, sweetie? Even if my mom never comes back, can I stay with you?" Emma's heart ached. "I'll do everything I can to make sure you have a home," she promised. As she turned off the light and left the room, she knew this wasn't just about helping a lost little girl anymore. This was family. A few weeks later, Emma was at work when her phone rang. She quickly wiped her hands on her apron and answered. "Hello. Miss Carter? This is Angela Hayes from Child Protective Services." Emma's breath caught in her throat. "Yes. I have some news regarding Lily's case." Emma gripped the counter. Is she being taken away?" Angela hesitated. "Not exactly. Her mother has officially lost custody due to her legal situation. That means Lily will need a permanent guardian." Emma's heart pounded. "What does that mean for me?" Angela paused before saying, "It means, if you're willing, you can apply to become Lily's legal guardian." Emma's eyes filled with tears. She had feared this moment, feared the decision she would have to make. But now that it was here, she knew the answer before she even spoke. "I want her to stay with me," Emma said, her voice trembling with emotion. Angela sighed in relief. "That's what we were hoping you'd say. We've been observing the situation, and it's clear Lily has bonded with you. We'll need to start the official paperwork, but we're confident you'll be approved." Emma wiped at her eyes. "Thank you." After hanging up, she stood there, trying to process what had just happened. She had gone from being a struggling waitress to becoming a mother figure in a matter of weeks. That evening, she sat Lily down at the kitchen table. "Sweetheart, I have something to tell you." Lily looked up, her big brown eyes filled with curiosity. "I spoke to the social worker today," Emma began. "Your mom won't be able to take care of you anymore." Lily looked down at the table, silent. Emma reached across and took her tiny hands in hers. "But," she continued, "they said I can be your guardian. If you want to stay with me, that is." Lily's head snapped up. "Really?" Emma nodded, her eyes misty. "Only if you want to." Lily threw her arms around Emma's waist. "I want to stay with you." Emma held her tightly, her heart full. Then it settled. Over the next few weeks, Emma navigated the legal process of becoming Lily's guardian. It wasn't easy. There were background checks, home visits, and endless paperwork. But with Rachel's help and the support of her coworkers, she made it through. One afternoon, after finalizing the paperwork, Rachel took Emma out for coffee. "You know," Rachel said with a smile, "I always knew you had a big heart, but I never imagined you'd become a mom overnight." Emma chuckled. "Neither did I." Rachel tilted her head. "Are you happy?" Emma thought about the past few weeks, the fear, the struggle, but also the love, the laughter, and the deep sense of purpose she had found. "Yes," she said softly. "I think this is exactly where I'm meant to be." A few days later, Emma and Lily celebrated their first official night as a family. They built a pillow fort in the living room, ate pizza, and watched Lily's favorite cartoon. As the credits rolled, Lily yawned and snuggled against Emma's side. "I love you, Emma," she whispered sleepily. Emma's heart swelled. "I love you too, sweetheart." And in that moment, she knew her life had changed forever.